No one's taking them, Chris. Everyone's going on vacation now. This is episode 35 of Cleanpin, and what we do is wrestling. Wrestling 24/7. Not 24/7, but more than enough is found on this channel. So if you have not subscribed, you're more than welcome to subscribe. I do also cover baseball, football, basketball, and everything in between. So this is episode 35 of Cleanpin. Talk about AEW, WWE, NWA, MLW, everything coming and goings, dealing with wrestling. So it's the first time I'm trying this, doing the going live with the live stream. So let's see how this works out. I'm not exactly a pro at this. Let's see if even I'm live or if I'm just talking to myself. So I think I'm live. Yes, I am live. I see it right here. Let me make sure how this tests. Hold on one second. Put up the volume a little bit. Alright, so that should be perfect. Let's see. There we go. So, Wednesday is usually a kind of a packed night as far as other YouTubers and podcasters, and maybe that's not the best of nights for me. Starting off, I'm trying to perfect my craft, but I just wanted to give it a test run here. I do want to do it live, not every week, close to every week, and do other live content as well throughout the weeks. Let's say if there was a watch along pay-per-view, watch along baseball game, things of that magnitude. There we go. Things of that magnitude. So, let's see how long we could do this for today. Let's get our feet wet, and we'll take it from there. I think first thing where you gotta start off with Matt Cardona. The thing that's the most frustrating in our memory right now, Matt Cardona, formerly known as Zack Ryder, hit the hit the TV waves here for you after his 90-day finished as Matt Cardona in AEW, making the save for Cody Rhodes. And, what do you think? Guy looks, he does look jacked, ready to go, ready to rock and roll. The only problem is, there is no live crowd, right? There is no live crowd. It's just, the people that are there, the workers, members of the company that are there. So how do you judge that debut? Now, don't get me wrong, there was a period of time, especially the period of time back in the Long Island story where he took the internet by storm, where he was red hot. Red hot. He wasn't being used on TV, and as opposed to standing still and being on the sideline, he took the bull by the horn, did an internet show with skits, sketches, and he got himself noticed. Fans started chanting, "We want Ryder, we want Ryder." And there he goes. WWE had to bring him up, started using him. Came into the Continental Champion a couple of occasions. With Zack Ryder, they kind of started a push, because that's what the fans wanted. And then, sure enough, after a while, it was over, and then he seemed to be off of TV for quite some time, relegated to shows like Main Event, house shows, and sometimes not even at all. And the thing is, it's almost like meh, for lack of a better word. I don't know. To me, there's something, my humble 2-cent opinion, something that was missing from the overall presentation. You like the character, you like the person outside of wrestling, but the character, or at least in-ring wise, seems to be very vanilla. Very vanilla. Nothing different. We've seen him run out into the ring, make the save for Cody, and he's using the Rough Rider. I don't know how flashy, how dominant of a move is the Rough Rider. I don't really think it does the trick for me. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe he needs a new finisher. Point I'm trying to make is I don't know. Here you go. You wonder if sometimes the writers of WWE protected their talent, and they protected them for a reason. Maybe there's a reason why these guys couldn't really go off the script, kind of do their own thing. If you want to believe that's the narrative, which a lot of people are saying is the case. Running of a tight ship. Well, now it's going to be a point where this guy is going to sink or swim. Sink or swim. So, and it's not just him. It's a lot of these guys that have been released by WWE 3 months ago, and some of them have returned in various organizations. It's all like meh, right? At least for me, anyway. It's like meh, and now what? I don't know why that is. Maybe these guys aren't those, not that big of a name. Maybe because they've been off of TV for 90 days already. It's not like in the old days where you're on one show and then literally on another show like the next day. Maybe that's why, because times have changed. But it's really now a sink or swim. Sink or swim. And I know at one point this guy was a really good merch, seller, because he got himself the attention. Again, sink or swim. Can he create the buzz that he created for himself? Like in the old days, and still be able to continue to hold that attention, hold that buzz. We also seen, just since we're speaking about AEW Dynamite, another guy that's on there, Brodie Lee. Now, I don't know if Brodie Lee, I don't know what it is, but Brodie Lee, to me, the guy, is he wearing the same suit every week? Does he change his suit? Like he changes his ring gear from the Wyatt family? And I don't know. I just feel that something, it just doesn't look right for me. Brodie Lee in a suit. I had higher expectations for him ever since he left the WWE, and it just kind of right now feels it feels flat for Brodie Lee. I don't know, maybe it's the character. Maybe I'm picturing part of the problem, Brodie Lee as Luke Harper, and I'm like, well, why is Luke Harper in a suit? Something is just not clicking right for me, in my honest opinion. And Matt Hardy too, this past week, said that, speaking of underwhelming, he even said it himself, that his a debut in AEW since leaving WWE didn't really hasn't really gone the way he's expected it to. Now there are various components that have played a tribute to that. Pandemic, Sammy Guevara getting suspended and since come back. He tried the various characters, Broken Matt, the broken character we see in Vanguard, who died a quick death. We've seen these various characters of Matt Hardy that Matt Hardy has tried to introduce, and they all have fell flat to him, which he really has admitted, and he attributes it to a few factors. Ben, addressed it on his YouTube video. Now was at the point where he's just saying that maybe Matt Hardy should be just Matt Hardy, and it's weird when you hear him say that. Because his character, worked in TNA, worked in Impact. But you saw glimpses of it in WWE, and it's a character that his character's have longevity. There's a lot that you could do with his characters. I said in a prior podcast where you could, with all those characters that he has introduced within the last couple of tapings when he was on AEW, you could do something where one of his characters, one of his personas, let's say, now this is an idea that I think is a phenomenal idea, and personally AEW should hire me if we use this idea. But listen, you could have him, one of his personas, be on board with the inner circle, and then as he's going in and out of his personas, all the other personas don't agree with him, with that one persona being in the inner circle, and at that point Matt would feud with him, the inner circle, and then persona would drift back to the one that's with the inner circle. So many ways, many potentials that you could go about this with Matt Hardy. But again, this is a guy that is a veteran, has been around a very long time. He can make it work, but you also need a couple of things to work in your favor, work in your work your way, or else you need how successful you are and portraying the character that you want to portray. Also, a lot of it has to do with how successful your dance partner, so to speak, is as well. So, another one of these arrivals from WWE that, to me, has been underwhelming. Now, I was saying underwhelming because we're in a, COVID era. Would it be different with actual fans? I'm sure it would. But, let's give, let's see what happens with Matt Hardy. Let's see where he takes this. And he definitely, he definitely has the skill and the mindset to pull it off. So we'll see where it takes us. Just skipping to Monday Night Raw, a couple of things to bring up. And again, just not doing a full review, just doing more of a kind of a recap with some of my thoughts and opinions, ideas from what I observed. And again, this is just, being a lifelong wrestling fan for very long time. I think part of the problem too, does Raw miss the mark? A lot of the times, yeah. A lot of the times they do. You can't deny it. They miss it. But I think if we were to take ourselves off of social media, and just watch Raw without reading anything on social media, I think our opinions, and this goes for AEW as well, and any promotion that you like watching, I think our opinion would be a lot different. I think, the internet, Twitter, and Facebook groups, it's a lot of toxic behavior on there, because a lot of people, a lot of people will always talk about the bad and never the good, and that's with anything in life. It's always the bad. Never focus on the good. But that would probably be my recommendation. Take yourself off of social media whenever Raw and AEW is on or whatever you watch, and you'll more than likely enjoy it a whole lot better. But I overall I liked Raw. Um, Dominic, he could. Although we've seen Dominic and Seth and Ray and Humberto Carrillo, all these combinations, Aleister Black, which we'll get into. It seems like we see this week in and week out. But the segment was nicely done. Even maybe you might say, well, because we've seen it time in and time in and time out again. Right? So how are you not able to perfect it? All right, maybe you have a point there. But I think Dominic, at the very least, would be able to, captivate us. At least he's captivating me and getting our attention. He's out there and he does not look like he doesn't embarrass himself. You would hope that he doesn't embarrass himself, being that Rey Mysterio is his father. I think Murphy finally. This segment made Murphy look pretty good. The spot was where Murphy was given orders by to Seth Rollins to do it, which he did. In Murphy going after Aleister Black, quote unquote, taking out his eye or injuring him. That segment was done nicely. It highlighted Murphy, and I think it made Murphy look like a beast, like an animal. Too many of times, I think Murphy in this stable, this is the way it is set up. But too much of the time, Murphy's taking the old proverbial ass beating, and he really, even when he sticks up for himself, does not get the winning end of the stick here. He made the attack on Aleister Black and made him look very good. Very good. Kind of washed away everything that, to me, that you might have known of Murphy. But, Aleister Black, though, that's a whole nother story, which we will pause for a quick time out here. And I'll be right back. In the meantime, until I'm right back, why don't you check out my other content and subscribe. Please do it. Breather there. As we're back, I was talking about Aleister Black. Aleister Black, at least on Raw, looks like was written off Raw, or at least given the injury angle where you don't see him on Raw for a couple of weeks, I would think. And, with Aleister Black, Last couple of weeks, you don't see the grandiose entrance. You see Aleister Black getting his, for the last couple of weeks, getting his ass handed to him. So Aleister Black is going from a guy that usually was untouchable, always on the winning side of things. Lately now has been getting his ass kicked, and Paul Heyman no longer running Raw, and you were from what you read, Paul Heyman was the guy running Raw, as we know, and he was a fan of Aleister Black. So all the dirt sheets are speculating that Aleister Black is kind of getting demoted. Does Vince pay attention to NXT? I really don't think Vince really pays attention to NXT, and I think he relies on what is being fed to him, what is being told to him. So you have to make sure, obviously, that who's ever relaying this information to Vince does not have any ulterior motives, any prior gripes with the person that they're giving a report to. I'm sure that all plays a part. Reportedly, it seems like that he is apparently missing a thing. And I'm sure maybe Vince hears this. Everyone was touting this guy as, kind of like the next Undertaker. And tough shoes to fill. He's not. Vince is like the Undertaker. There goes my bad Vince impersonation, but Aleister Black is nothing like the Undertaker. You see what they will do with him. I mean, part of it, I think, the problem with this is, and you sure, I think that Vince gets this information thrown his way, because I see Vince being a owner that wants to know every little detail, every little nook and cranny. And, he's being told, they're saying, Vince, that this guy's like the next Undertaker. Oh, really? Well, why does the next Undertaker, why is Aleister Black, my modern version Undertaker, running around with a personal YouTube channel, and, that was showing him, and Vince might be like, "Oh, wait, I seen him on YouTube shopping for pillows at Bed Bath. It's not the Undertaker. He's missing something. I don't see that in the ring." It through no fault of his own. Those are tough shoes to fill, but Vince is the guy, and he makes the final decisions. Don't agree with it at times, but when you're a millionaire who steps in and is going to say otherwise. Well, we're looking at Raw. I gotta tell you, I'm also very impressed by the Hurt Business. Is it the Hurt Business? The Hurt Business. I think it's Hurt. Hurt. I know it's Hurt Incorporated. Is it Hurt Incorporated or Hurt Business? I believe it's the Hurt Business, and I like this stable. MVP. Slowly but surely, I think it's coming along together for this squad or faction. Good to see Sheldon Benjamin being utilized on TV. So they wanted to give it a little bit more intimacy, and what, to make him hardcore champion. That's not gonna. Okay. At least he has a title. Now you have MVP there, the self-professed Intercontinental Champion, and then you have Bobby Lashley, who's just an absolute freak of an athlete. They were saying that on WWE that this, or at least what was being rumored, that these guys would be they were saying that these guys would be who are we referring to? I just lost my train of thought. Yes, the Hurt Business. That these guys would be the next Nation of Domination. The Nation of Domination, when they were out, was a very controversial group. They were out during the Attitude Era, and that was a whole different time than where we are right now. I know they brought in, you had Ron Simmons appear on TV, but I don't think that's a stable that would, in the time and the climate that we're in, I'm not sure bringing back that stable would be the best of things. Excuse me, at least right now. Because it's, it's like when you watch these reruns of, certain TV shows, and they come on the air, and unfortunately, they're just never done right, and kind of are left with a bad taste in your mouth. So I don't think that they could redo the Nation of Domination, the Hurt Business. It's a different time and a different climate, but it could be Nation of Domination light, very subtle light, and possibly they might be able to truly pull it off. I talk about how the times are different. I think back to the character Muhammad Hassan, and Muhammad Hassan, who was not even Arab, he was Italian, but he portrayed that character, portrayed it so much. And again, this is how much it was in a different time, different place. He portrayed that character in and out of the ring. He mentioned that this one time he was, in character, Muhammad Hassan, and him and Davari, who were teamed up, they were also still in full, in full, in full garb, like they were dressed, how people of that um, background would dress, and apparently they nerved and they scared a lot of people on the plane. Because a lot of people apparently in the back of the plane were calling their family and friends because they were terrified of Muhammad Hassan and Davari being on their plane. And these guys, the passengers didn't know. Oh yeah, look, that's a WWE wrestler. And it was a shame with that character, because that character really, what he was is he always said that he loved the U.S. and he was just trying to show in his mind how he was being not treated well, I think is what they used. And then the London bombings happened. They pulled the character off TV. And he shortly thereafter he left wrestling altogether. So it's and that character. There was big hopes for that character. Even talk of him winning the championship in DC right before all this happened, and it's a shame sometimes how you get associated with the character more than your who you are individually. And I think that's what happened with Muhammad Hassan. He was so good at being Muhammad Hassan. WWE might have felt if they give this guy another character, people are still going to refer to him as Muhammad Hassan, and there was really no turning back and really nothing that he could do. And he did make a few indie runs, but nothing of length or significance. Is now a teacher and totally past wrestling. So if you look at that character, Muhammad Hassan, back in the 2005, 2006, the guy was getting heat. But, with cancel culture, with the way things are right now, that character would not be able to work in today's society. But if you are interested, look at YouTube and study Muhammad Hassan's career. This guy was pretty damn amazing. Be right back. And we're marching on into the 40-minute mark here of this vidcast. I hope you're enjoying this episode, and maybe give this channel a chance. This is my first real live stream here. Hopefully the sound is good. I'll play it back and see where I need to take it from here. But this is just a test, just to kind of see how this really uh, works. Sticking on Raw, we also seen, and I think we know where this is going. Um, the next challenger for McIntyre, RKO. That's where we're going. It's going towards SummerSlam, and we're going towards. I think uh, it's inevitable. Meaning, I know. I think we could be in the same agreement that probably you're gonna have another match, a third match between Edge and Randy Orton. If they said that, match two was the greatest um, wrestling match ever, then three for the trilogy would be for the marbles. All the marbles. And I think to make that, stress that importance, um, I could see Edge beating out Randy. I'm sorry, I could see Randy Orton beating out Drew McIntyre for the title, then facing Edge at SummerSlam for the championship for all the marbles. And I could see it going that way because the third match, the trilogy. How else are you gonna make it seem important? Well, there it goes. I think that's what you will see. I will see. You're gonna see. You're gonna see a changing of the guard, so to speak. So I think that's coming, and let's just all be prepared for all you Drew McIntyre fans out there. There was talk, speculation that was going around, made the internet waves there. The back and forth between Bruce Pritchard and NWA champion Nick Aldis. Bruce Pritchard saying that Nick Aldis really doesn't have the it factor. Nick Aldis got upset by that, confronted Bruce Pritchard, and Bruce Pritchard goes, "Oh, no, 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 listen, it has nothing to do with you. It had to do with the Magnus character when he was the champion over at TNA." Listen, what does the saying go? Let's not throw what is it, stones at let's not throw stones. Let's not throw stones at glass houses. Is that the saying? I don't know. But listen, Bruce Pritchard honestly in no position to be taken, to be making, doing stabs like that, doing social media stabs and taking subtle hints here and there, or hits rather, not hints. Bruce Pritchard. Fact of the matter is, SmackDown is not exactly crushing it in the ratings. And when you look, you also look at the fact of, it's just not the same. the whole landscape has changed as we know it. So, if you could drop me a comment, where you're from, what's your favorite, sport, who's your favorite wrestler. Listen, Bruce Pritchard, like I said, dropping ones on the ratings. Listen, now, as much as I like NWA, Nick Aldis, I'll tell you this, Nick Aldis does look like a champion that's, been a champion for 50 years. His overall presentation, Nick Aldis, is good. Carries himself well, very well spoken. That NWA championship fills him. I think he has helped bring back identity to. He has brought back an identity. And again, remember, guys, in general, wrestling is such an up and down spot, such an up and down in general, that you really just got to give it a chance. So, again, Nick Aldis saying, taking jabs, and they're all Bruce Pritchard. They're all taking jabs at each other. Listen, Bruce Pritchard, like I was going to say, Bruce Pritchard drawing a one. How much is Impact drawing? So it doesn't. It just does not. Sometimes does not make sense to me. So I think we're at the 47-minute mark here. Wanted to give this a try. I think we'll do this again live at some point. So don't forget to like, hit subscribe, share this video. Help a guy out, right? Help a guy out. So, see you for Cleanpin. Episode 36. I'll leave you on this, just going back in all this as I'm thinking about this too. All this, as much as he carries himself as the NWA champion, the NWA really, honestly, need to do something. You need to do something, because he's already, all this needs the NWA to get back on TV, or else, he's holding on a belt from a, so how is, it's it's petty stuff. I don't know why wrestlers do this. Why the back and forth? So let's, with Cleanpin, this has been episode 35. And let's make this a weekly thing. Hope all is well. Ciao, episode 35. Cleanpin.